Good morning, and welcome to the Bipolar Sunrise. I'm your host, Garrett Nichols.
I'm Ryan Sullivan.
Hey, Doug.
Ah, Good morning, everyone. Uh, how's everyone doing on this frigid Kansas morning?
Right.
We're getting into the unfortunate time of year for me that I hate the most. I've never liked winter, and the older I get, this morning I was telling you I was putting straw bales around the crawl space in my house to keep it warmer in the winter, and my hands just putting 3 straw bales out around my house. My hands were cold as ice,
Yeah.
and they hurt instantly. I think as I get older, either my circulation's getting worse, or I've developed that Raynaud's where your circulation's bad, and it just like aches when your fingers get cold. It's worse and worse every year, and so along with the physical pain of not liking the cold and knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable, it's depressing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Dark early, then the daylight savings time, they try to make up for the fact that we don't have light to work. It has nothing to do with comfort on the American citizens. It has to do with, hey, you can get out and work in the
Yeah.
cold earlier
You
because
need
the
to be
daylight
more
earlier.
productive.
Yeah, let's go. We're not going to sit around while it's dark outside. We'll change the time to where it's light. That's kind of it's a strange phenomenon, the daylight savings, and it's only in some states in the United States. We're one of them,
Yep, we are definitely one of them.
Yep.
and doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon. And on top of that, it's archaic. I mean, we looked up the stats last week, and people, do seem to have an increase in cardiovascular function during that time of year, and it makes sense, especially if your stress level goes up because of your anticipating a bad time. So it even starts you mentally preparing for this early. Then you get days like today where it's just like, oh, this is what it's going to be like.
Yep,
It's terrible.
I agree.
But I guess I don't prep for it. I mean, it's the same thing. I knew it was getting cold, and I waited to the last minute to get straw. Before I decided to winterize my house, I'm like, oh, well, it's going to freeze tonight. Better go rush around and spend a bunch of extra money that I didn't need to spend and get
Right.
stuff that I did need months ago. It's sort of I think that's, most people do that, even at work. I mean, we were rushing around on Friday getting our stuff that holds water into the warm room, so with the heater, so we didn't freeze our equipment. Not that it would have, it's going to have to get colder longer than this, but
Right.
with
It's
Kansas, you never know. If it's a cold day like this, it might drag out for the next 2 months like this,
Right,
or it might be 85 tomorrow.
right.
It's hard to say around
Yeah.
here. It's a difficult time. Though I know with me, I do have some. Not even. It's not. I wouldn't say that I have like seasonal depression, but it's harder for me to keep my mood stable when we're going back and forth between cold and hot, and then I'm mentally trying to prepare for this, but I'm actually just mentally complaining and fatigued that, oh, it's here again. And I don't know why I ever got Kansas tattooed on my head. I'm gonna move out of this state one of these days where it's warm
Just
all the
cross
time.
it out and put the
Put
new
another one,
state.
Florida, over it, and I'll have 3 or 4 of them on there as my mood changes. A different state. I'm feeling a little Arizona-y today, in this cold winter. Do you do anything, Nate? You don't have much. You're a winter type of guy. You would sort of like it.
Yeah.
Do you have to do anything to kind of prepare yourself? Do you get warmed up pretty quick once the cold starts?
Yeah. I work in a really cold environment all the time. It stays between like 60 and 65, sometimes 68, but where I work. So, and I'm constantly warm all the time. So I sweat a lot. It's also probably because I'm out of shape. but I don't do anything different to prepare for winter. I'm just really happy when it happens.
It's
Just really happy when it happens.
it's interesting to talk to someone
So
with such a
excited.
different view of mine. It's not like I'm looking at Nate and trying to figure out what he's talking about, and then I want to rebuttal with my, well, what about this? Because I have no understanding, and I'm genuinely interested in why you enjoy the cold, and I can't stand it. It's not like there's anything about the cold weather where the only thing I don't like is the discomfort of the cold and the, if you have icy roads, it's a problem. Winter is just, there's less time to go out and do things to get stuff done. It's colder, but I wonder how much of that is just me trying to say no to the winter, me balking at the
Right.
idea of it getting cold, to where Nate's like, oh, good, it's getting cold now. Well, my dad, for example, he loved wintertime because that's when he cut wood. Too hot to cut wood during the summer. There's bugs all over the trees, oak mites, and everything else that you could be getting into, plus sawdust on you, sweating, uncomfortable. Wintertime, you warm up because you're out working and you're loading wood. It's not nearly as bad. So my dad would get excited for that. But there's nothing for me to look forward to in winter where I'm like, oh, right, winter's coming.
Right.
This month's going to be good because I always do this in the winter.
Yeah. I can see
Sledding,
that.
maybe if there was snow, but you know how Kansas is. We might not see enough snow to sled this year, and then next year it might snow so much you can't sled because there's too much snow.
I always liked the winter when I was younger, mainly fall. Always loved fall, but it was because I was such an avid reader that then I could justify spending hours every day reading,
Mm-hmm.
because why would I want to go outside?
Sure.
And so this time of year always reminds me of curling up with a book and just reading and reading and reading.
It is comfortable to sit by somewhere warm, maybe by a window and see the leaves blowing by and not really having an agenda that you have to follow. Just get down with a book. It is nice. So that part, yeah, there's hints of season. Like when fall comes, it's like, oh, this feels good. I'm about to put my flannel coat on. I know but then I know it's going to get ice.
My thing with winter is I don't mind the snowfall, but to me, when I start getting more of a depressed mode about it is when everything turns dirty.
Yeah.
It's just, then it almost represents chaos,
Okay,
you
so
go
what about
outside
this?
and it's just muddy slush and just gross.
But the first fresh driven snow
Is
of
awesome.
the year, you look out, 2 days later, there's footprints across your yard.
Yeah.
Leaves are starting to get exposed. Dogs are tracking mud into the house.
Yep.
And now it's like, okay, I'm paying the piper for what I wanted, that beautiful snow.
Right.
And now I got to pay for it with.
And that's it. I like the first snowfall or any snowfall where it covers everything
I do too.
and it's just beautiful looking, and I don't know. But then once it starts getting dirty, it's like, ugh, okay. I want all the snow to disappear. This is gross.
Yeah, the risk almost isn't worth the reward in that instance because
Yeah.
the risk is that you're going to be tracking mud into the house, taking your shoes off at the door and leaving them outside. Just,
Yep.
having to add, well, it might be nice enough at noon that you could just get away with a hoodie or a light jacket. But by the time sun goes down, it's going to be cold. You got to carry some coveralls with you in the car, or you should.
Right.
If you live in Kansas and you're traveling, you better have some coveralls and a coat and some water, blankets with you because it can get nasty real fast around here. And that sucks. You got all these extra layers of clothes on. I guess I do have a pessimistic view of winter, so when I'm talking about it, everything I say seems to just spew discontent toward winter, and that's not the case. I don't hate winter. It's a very uncomfortable time. It makes things more challenging. My job is really
Oh,
difficult.
yeah.
I work outside. We have to dig holes with
Yeah.
potentially broken water lines, and now you're wet and cold. It's so there's a lot of things to not be grateful for about winter, and I don't mind. I know it's going to get hot during the summer. It's like, oh man, it's going to be 100 degrees today. I can go stand in the shade, or we can set up a tent or something to work in. There's water. Splash some on my face, and I deal with it. Never complain. I mean, I'm still gonna complain, but it's not like, oh man, we got to do this again tomorrow. Oh no, like okay, well, got to work tomorrow. No big deal. But in the wintertime, like 2 days in a row of this, I don't know. But it is widely affected. People are widely affected by the seasonal changes, and I think that the time change really just adds to that.
Yeah.
Because why did we do the time change to begin with? I mean, I don't want to be inaccurate here because I always, am completely on my game. But I think they did the time change because they needed to be able to work in the fields longer. You need more daylight hours, and for people to still kind of get sleep at night and stay on that Acadian rhythm, they would switch it around so that they could have daylight in the morning, work into the evening. But that's not the case anymore. Tractors have GPS. They don't even have drivers in them.
Right.
They just, and same with the school. They should just keep kids in school year round. In my opinion, the school year round, maybe a small break for the summer, but not such a giant gap. It screwed me when I was a kid. I don't know, summer vacation. You get way more education if you don't stop and let the kids completely go dumb for 3 months.
Right.
Because that's what they do. No, not hardly any kids, and parents that work full time don't have time to sit and build a curriculum for their kids over the summertime. So they just go wild, don't read any books, don't do anything, and then have to crunch time to start again. So your first couple of months is getting reorientated to school for some kids. Some kids pick right back up, but a majority have to struggle, and they get back in the rhythm of that. And then it's like dark all the time, sports, busy, no time to do anything. And then they throw summer up on you, and like, there's your kids that we've been, keeping busy all this time. Now you got them for 3 months. Your turn.
Yeah.
Is there a better solution, in your all's opinion, than how we're doing it currently?
I mean, outside of doing away with daylight savings time.
I guess with just our three brains here, not having to reach out to an economist that could tell us, why we're wrong. What do you think would be a better alternative? Do you think that just doing away with the daylight savings time would benefit or, harm the average
I don't
citizen?
think it would make that big of a difference. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have construction and stuff, but I used to work construction and we worked,
Anytime.
yeah.
Rain, sleet, snow, dark, shine.
Daylight savings time would screw us at the back half of the day, during the winter, because we wouldn't get off till 5:30, 6 o'clock. During the springtime, you'd show up at 6 in the morning and it's dark, so it's like, and it didn't prohibit us from going out and doing what we needed to do. So I don't understand, like you said, I understand it used to be for farmers but your tradesmen that work, it's not gonna keep you from repairing a broken water line.
That's
If it's 6:30 at night or 6:30 in the morning, you're still gonna be able to do it, so.
the only thing I would say that I would guess play the devil's advocate on that is because of my position working in the city limits with heavy machinery, at 6 o'clock in the morning, people are still asleep.
Right.
Whether it's dark or not, like you said, we're still gonna go out. We've got flashlights and we've got generators and plug-in lamps. When we did that tie-in last week, we was down on 6th Avenue till 2 in the morning with big lights and flashlights and a hole working on it all night long. So it's not that we couldn't do it. Yeah, there's more equipment that you have to get out and things, but the things can still get done. The only thing I would consider was people sleeping. But at the same time, I don't necessarily care because whatever we do that early in the morning is gonna be that morning. It's not typically like we're gonna be doing a 3-day job where we're keeping you up at night and
Right.
working in the morning. Be like, okay, we're on South and Sylvan this morning and we're gonna do a service. Yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of jackhammer going for, 15 minutes. But what's the problem with that? Like, we woke up a couple people in this part of town, and then we're gonna move on to the next. Trains wake people up all the time, and there's nothing changing about that.
Right,
We're not doing anything about it.
right.
There's a way we can make a quiet zone. The city has to pay, taxpayers have to pay for double crossings on each intersection. If they put 2 crossings to where it would be, double safeties, then the trains will not blow their horns any longer. But it's free to blow that horn.
Right.
It is, and that's
Yeah.
why if I was BNSF, I'd say the same thing. Like, it doesn't cost us anything to blow this air horn.
Yeah, guy's already in the engine. Might as well let him just yank the chain.
He's not doing anything else. He probably has to stop looking at Facebook long enough to, oh yeah, I'm at an intersection. So with the railroad, why would they care? But I don't want to get too off on getting onto trains. But that would be my only issue with not changing the daylight, starting at 6 a.m. and it's dark, and work until 7:30 when it starts to get light for a few months out of the year. It's not like we're going to we don't always start right when we get to work on a project too. Sometimes
Right.
there's not anything going on, and we've got to wait till the day for something to pop up. So we're working in the shop anyway, greasing equipment
Right.
and doing things like that, which we need days like that anyway. So to me, personally, and I think the guys on my crew as well, I think I could speak for the majority of people that do the work that I do, we don't care. It's more of an inconvenience. I can't sleep.
Mhm.
It takes months for me to get used to this. About
Well,
the time I am, it switches again.
That's the biggest thing is if you've got people that are exhausted, doesn't matter if the sun's up, but you're so tired you're not focused or you can't focus on what you're doing or more mistakes happen or
Fatigue and
Yeah.
exhaustion. Yeah,
absolutely.
brain fog is a very dangerous,
Mhm.
more dangerous than anything else because
Oh,
you do
absolutely.
stupid stuff. You're tired, you drop your keys. For some reason, you think I'm going to kick them over to the wall to pick them up so I can lean on the wall. I'm so tired. Or you think something then you kick your keys into a drain, or fill in the blank. But that's
Or underneath the TV.
Yeah.
We lost our keys this weekend.
oh no.
Oh, it was horrible. It's our only set to our vehicle. And we found out it was $450 to get because it's a chipped key.
Uh huh.
And last night, finally went to bed, and Nate, in all the goodness of his heart, crawled underneath and looked underneath the TV again. Even though Tabby had looked, I had looked. He looked again, and there they were in the back corner. Her purse had fallen off and they shot underneath the TV. We were getting ready to go pick up one of Mom's vehicles today just to use until we could get keys. And Tabby woke me up this morning. I don't even know what time. It was in the middle of the night. She's like, "Did you find the keys? Did you find the keys?" I'm like, "No, I've been sleeping. What are you talking about? Someone found the keys."
It wasn't me.
So Nate was our knight in shining armor this weekend.
Well, good for you, Nate. That is a very, it's a strange feeling.
It is.
You're like the keys. I forgot, and it happens all the time. Where did I set my keys? I've looked through my entire house, being in a hurry, getting in a hurry and complacent. They're in my pocket. I've walked around the house. Where is the remote? And I'm holding the thing
Yeah.
because I'm so in the zone about something else,
Yeah.
I've set the remote in the refrigerator because I was getting up to get a drink and I looked in the refrigerator, went to grab something, set the remote down on the shelf and grabbed some milk out or something.
Yep.
Why are we what was I thinking of in that instance that I just explained about the remote, that I set the remote in the refrigerator and then spent another hour trying to retrace my steps where I put it while I'm drinking this milk that I had just gotten. Like, I can't imagine where I would have put in that remote. But that having your car keys or house keys missing, it's almost like you've lost your ID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a panic mode.
Well, and Tabby was panicked, kept apologizing. She's like, I think she was baffled I wasn't pissed off at her because she's like, And I told her, I said, hon, what is me getting pissed off gonna do? Does it find the keys? Does it? I said, it is what it is. It could have just as easily been me that lost the keys. But it's one of those that, you know, you think they're here somewhere, so they're gonna turn up.
Right.
I just hope it's before we spend
$400.
$450 on a new set.
That's
But-
usually how it works. You spend $450 on a set, and then you come home and Piper's like, "Hey, I was making a fort underneath the TV and found these keys."
Right.
Like, what? You know, did you
Yep.
have those keys the whole entire time? You know?
Tabby thought the dog ate them. I mean, she was just like, "There's nowhere. I don't understand how we can't find them."
Now we have had remotes, more than one. We have a Texas Healer, and that sneaky little guy. She's a game player. She takes little things and takes off out to the backyard with them. Like she hides them, like from the other dogs. If you get her a piece of food that's real good, and she tries to hide it so she can eat it later. The other dogs just go dig it up and eat it. I'm like, don't try to hide your food. Even in her food dish, she'll try to nose her food deeper down in there and like nose it, cover it with food, then eat the dry food and wait to the end. And the other dog come run her off and eat her
Eat
food.
her.
Like, what? Quit saving it. It's not worth it. These guys don't
Right.
save. They have no
These
understanding.
bullies are gonna eat your shit.
Guaranteed. And then she's got this look on her face like, oh, they ate my food. Like, yeah, we told you that was going to happen. And you know it is. Yeah, it's funny. So I was thinking of another topic last night, laying in bed sometimes. As your gears start turning,
Yep.
I don't want to any political opinions I mean, you feel free to give whatever you want. But the way I want to, I guess, frame this is if you, Nate, and myself, we're just your average guys. None of us have been financially successful to where we're like having people would come to us and say, "Hey, how you do really good with money? You know, could you help me with money?"
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know exactly how. I know how the Emporia city government works, for example, because I took a course over the summer a couple summers ago and learned budgeting and how they move taxes around and where the money goes, where it comes from. But as far as our United States government goes, I'm not exactly sure on all the ins and outs, and I'm sure. Well, I know for a fact that President Trump, when he first got in office, after his first term, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast and explained to him that, yeah, I messed up a whole bunch during my first term because I didn't know what to do. I was new at this and I had to rely on people that were telling me what to do, and a lot of them turned out to be swindlers, and I did a bad job. I think I've got the right people in there now, and I think I've got it figured out. So it seems like he seems like he's doing better this term than he is last. That could be arguable. I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, without a iron in the fire, I don't care that part doesn't matter. But what I'm getting at here is just some dummies like us. I would not, if somebody said, okay, we're going to try to figure out this tax problem and we're going to try to figure out how to get this budget under control, we're getting Ryan Sullivan to do it. I'll be like, I don't think so. And if they said, well, okay, but Nate and him are roommates, they're going to put their heads together on this, I'd say, okay, that's 2 votes for no. And they say, well, what if you help them? I would say, okay, then we're not doing this. You want
That's
money or
3
you
votes
don't?
for no.
You want everyone to starve or you don't? Because when I get confused and frustrated, I'm giving up. I'm out of here. I've lost my temper. Screw Nate. Screw Ryan. Let them figure out the budget because their ideas are so damn good. Let them figure it out. They didn't like my ideas. I'm not good, and I have no interest in any sort of politics or budgetary anything. But there are people that do. So recently we had a city election here in Emporia, Kansas. So, we elected 3 new city commissioners and 2 school board members in the USD 283 surrounding areas. There was a lot of talk amongst the community within the Emporia area chats and things like that of why some candidates should be in, why some candidates shouldn't. A lot of digging up of old skeletons in the closet to try to smear the other candidates
Right.
and everything. Normal stuff. Uh, what was said about some of the candidates was they came from old money, right? And I think that that was a way that they were trying to say that this is essentially corruption. If there was corruption, these same usual suspects are back in, and we're going to have this old money going to the old money places. And I think some people balked at that idea, but my dumb, average brain said, well, that's kind of good that we got people that were raised with money, their parents had money, their grandparents had money, so there's a legacy with these folks, and the community still seems to be going. If I was in charge, we would have to, if I did have a good idea, it would take so long for it to work and maybe never work. I just don't have it. I guess the point I'm trying to make, again, the way I'm going around this is a long way, is the same way I would go around handling people's finances and their security. I don't know what I'm doing. And it would take me years and years and years to learn and become efficient at it. And I don't know that I have the mental capacity or the wherewithal to be able to stick it out and make it happen, especially once I started getting criticized by the community.
Right.
So the long way around this conversation is, would you rather have old money in charge of our taxes, or would you want somebody fresh and new that has never proven themselves? And how do we know that they're going to work? I guess I don't know how I'm trying to frame this. I'm okay with old money being in there because it's generational money that they understand what it takes, the ins and the outs. They've heard their parents speaking. They're like, ooh, if we do this. I guess
think it
I'm
can
not
be a
asking a really.
double-edged sword, because if it's old money, it's not like they made the money. You know what I mean? They may have to.
That's not what I'm saying is, they came from money.
Right.
So would they be better at managing money?
But
not the money that they already accumulated.
Right.
Dealing with people.
But my point is just because they came from money doesn't mean they're good with money.
Right, and that's what I'm.
You know what I mean?
I didn't come from money, and I've never had any, so I know I wouldn't be good with money, because I've never had any. I've never had an amount of money that would make a difference in anything. I've never had an amount of money that would be like,
Life changing.
if I make if I had enough money that I would affect other people because of the amount of money I had. That's
right.
Never been. I wouldn't know what to do, and I don't understand tax laws and tax codes and what happens if you do, because these rich folks have stocks, they have liquid assets. It's not like they're worth 10 billion, but they don't have 10 billion cash sitting in a bank account.
It's all in stocks
And
shit
if you,
like that.
right, I guess I don't really know even how to ask the question.
I think what you're getting at, and I don't know. I think I'd still have to. It would depend on what they still had to say, because we've all known a trust fund, baby.
Yeah.
And usually you can err on the side of caution that they're like, woo, it's a woo, they're not the most frugal people either, because they didn't have their blood, sweat, and tears earned in earning that money. So to them, it's just a playground, and I get this a month, and they blow through it, and you're just going, holy shit.
Well,
If I had that kind of money, I wouldn't,
But those types, I guess those types aren't trying to get into office.
Right. Oops, sorry.
The trust fund babies that are
And
being
absolutely.
non-frugal are probably just out driving
Absolutely.
expensive cars and womanizing and philanthropying, but not really running for office. So
Right.
I'm talking about
But on the flip side of that, if you have someone that's had nothing, wouldn't they be more frugal with other people's money than, you know what I mean?
that's
where they're sitting there going, oh, or someone, but they may not be loaded, but they're good with their finances because they've learned to be frugal and may spend less than someone that wants for nothing, and they think, oh, that is it a need, but it would be nice, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they're used to nicer things, so why wouldn't we spend money on that?
Or
I
they've
don't know. I mean,
experienced, like,
it's a
if you
loaded question. It
that you
really
have,
is.
yeah, you can't. That's why I don't have a tie to either side of this.
Yeah, and I don't either.
And I
I
don't
can
know.
see the point. I can see pros and cons of both sides. Where someone that came from nothing may be more fiscally responsible with our money, but someone that owns 14 businesses in Emporia and is loaded may be a freaking, may be the shit running money.
It could be.
It's
I don't. The only thing that the real comments that were in there, which I didn't look at it from that perspective because maybe I'm a little naive, but I looked at it as the way that they were trying to frame it in the, like, from the Lyon County Observer, was, here's a lot of old money. They're going to continue to use that money to prop up their constituents and get them better deals and kickbacks and all this and
and
that.
I can see that because it's a bunch of big fish in little pond syndrome.
I can see it, but just again, coming from my dumb way of looking at things, Evco's still going
Well, absolutely.
and it's still thriving.
with Monica. Yeah.
And Monica's dad has ran that. She's watched it grow. She works at the university. She teaches. I don't think, but that's just personally. I've met Monica. I was in the Civic Leadership Institute with her. She's very knowledgeable, and she has been around a business that's been thriving and growing and providing jobs to Emporia since she was a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clearly, she would want her father's business and legacy to still be successful. But
Right.
would she use city funds then to push toward Evco for nefarious reasons to make it grow and
Right.
not use the money somewhere else? I don't believe that, which is why I voted for you. I hope you do good, Monica, because I just told everybody that I was one of the ones to help you get in there. But I've met her. I've spoken to her. She seemed genuine to me, and when she speaks, she has clear and present ideas that resonated with me.
Well, to me, that means you made a very educated vote, though.
On her, I definitely did,
You know
because
what
I
I
had the
mean?
chance to
It-
personally be invested.
It wasn't a personal bias. It was an educated. Like you said, I got to talk to her. I got to meet her. I understand her philosophies. Here, I bought into it. So that's an educated vote.
This was before she even
Compared
ran. This was
to-
when she was just talking about ideas that we had for the classes. We'd
Right.
come in, they'd have someone from another department come in, and then they'd give us little tasks to complete for the engineering department. This is what you have. You got popcorn and spaghetti noodles. You got to build a building out of it. You need an engineer and you need the builder, and here's what money you have. Here's the supplies that you get with that. And it was a test to show you, okay, well, you have absolutely nothing to build with and no money, no budget, but you still have to get it done. How are you going to do it?
Well, I think that's just the nature of the beast with voting in general. Is you can vote for someone based off of your limited knowledge of them, because it is limited knowledge. Your knowledge is what they're allowing you to see.
Right.
And I think that's the nature of the beast with voting in general, whether it's a local election or national. I guarantee there's people that voted for Trump that there's times they cringe and go, "Oh God."
Sometimes I do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's people that voted for,
Kamala.
Kamala. Yeah, Kamala.
Whatever. Don't hate me for pronouncing her name wrong. Nobody knows how to pronounce it.
But voted for her that probably look at Trump at times, whether they want to admit it or not, and go, he's doing a good job.
Right.
That's any president, that's any commissioner. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast with voting is we're getting what they allow us to see. and it's a limited view, and you have a lot of it ends up going off personal convictions, or you find something, you always lock into something that, oh, they said this, and boom, that's what I've been waiting to hear, and then you vote for them.
Unfortunately, you get tunnel vision sometimes on that, looking for that specific
Absolutely,
thing.
absolutely.
But what all the other crap that they're bringing to the table is not necessarily what you want.
Absolutely, and I agree 100%.
And I think voters like myself, again, we're not. I'm not going to speak for everyone. Myself, I'm not extremely educated in politics, and I do not understand all the ins and outs. So I rely on whoever I think the best for that position is going to get my vote. And maybe people want to. I voted for these reasons. If you want to hear them, I'll tell you why.
Right.
But if you want to argue with me about them, I'm like, well, I didn't know that when I voted, and
Right.
you don't. Sorry.
And that's that limited.
We have a different
Version
opinion, so
part.
I'm going to want somebody different than you. But I understand where you're
Absolutely.
coming from. I just I can't even really debate anybody anymore because that's the way you think. I
Well,
understand.
there is no debating anymore. It's personal attacks, and
It sure is. That's
I
the
mean,
problem. There's
and
no.
It is. That's the huge problem. We can't talk like we are now. Say I voted for Kamala, and you voted for Trump,
We can't. We're enemies.
and that's what it is.
And it's stupid because we probably think a lot the same. We
And-
have
and
probably have
that's-
like two issues that we don't see eye to eye on, but everything else we all want our families to be more successful than we do. We want to feed our kids. We want a crime-free society.
Yeah.
All the other little things, the talking points, are really what people don't care about. It's just like hot button stuff that I don't know. I think it's like most people get along, and then you bring something like that up. It's like religion and politics are two things you don't talk about because people's hearts are in those
Exactly.
subjects.
Yep. They're personally invested in it.
Because you might not like it's even for me. You might might not like jujitsu at all. Boring to you. You think it's dangerous. You can't imagine why anybody would want to be so violent. And to me, I'm just like, well, it's completely changed my life and made it so much better.
Right.
No, it didn't. It made you worse. It's like, well,
Right.
okay. And that's what happens. Like, that was a crazy statement that you just made. I'm telling you that it made my life better. And you're saying, well, just wait. It's
Right.
going to really fuck you one of these days soon. You just wait and see. Like,
Yep.
you've never experienced jujitsu in your life, but you're an expert telling me I'm going to not like it and my opinion is wrong. And that's where we get.
Yeah.
I should just say, well, here's how it helped me. I feel like it could help you that way, but it seems to me like you're not interested. Not a problem. And that's the way I would talk to somebody because I know what jiu-jitsu has done for me. I don't have to prove it to you.
Right.
And why should
You've
I?
already proved it to
Because
yourself.
at that point, then I would want you to tell me you were wrong and that I was right and jiu-jitsu is good. That's most of the time in politics what you see. They don't want you to be right. They want you to tell them they were right
Yep.
and that you're wrong.
I agree.
And you need to now, I'm changing my vote now. You've convinced me.
Yep.
Once people are convinced about something political, you typically, not all the time, typically, now they're emotionally attached to this subject and you're not changing their mind. And if you do, you're the enemy. And then they start the personal bashes, like you say, either against the politician in question or you personally.
Yep.
Well, you stupid shitbag liberal.
Yep.
They go to people's profiles and say, they post a picture of their profile and the guy's got his hat on crooked and some weird glasses and they're like, this is the guy's opinion I'm looking at. Like, you don't even know if that's his profile picture because people put donkeys up on their profile picture making funny faces just for fun.
Yeah.
And you're bringing this up and that's how you're going to change my mind politically because you posted a picture of my profile picture and said, look at this dummy.
Yep.
That has nothing to do with my opinion or what we were talking about. You're trying to silence me by making me look like an idiot.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Why,
100%.
how about you help me understand where you're coming from so that I can make a better decision instead of trying to tell me I'm a friggin' idiot and I'm poor. And so I could never understand, like, well, you've hit the nail on the head. I'm a freaking idiot and I'm poor, but I still don't understand why I should vote for who you want me to vote for instead of the guy because he keeps telling me this and you just say, oh, 'cause he's a liar. Well, how can you prove that he's lying? If you can't see it, I'm not going to fucking prove it to you. You're just
Yeah.
blind, you fucking idiot.
Yep.
Like, well, you didn't change my mind, and I'm still going to vote for the guy because all you did was call me a fucking idiot. And now I feel like anybody that votes for who you voted for that has your mindset is a fucking idiot. And I'm going to, you didn't change
Yeah.
anything. You made it worse. There's more of a divide.
It's that bullying mentality.
Well, it's trying to silence your, the person that you're debating. Like, because it's not a debate. This kid the other day, I posted something and he comes on. He's like, "Yeah, you're correct about this, but blah 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 blah." And I said, "Dude, like, I just posted the post. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. There was no statement in here. There's just this guy that was a shared post. And I said, you're out here arguing just for the sake of argument." And him and my coach get into it because we're both on the same team. And then our coach and him go at it politically constantly. And I watch them like, you two are both idiots. Why are you arguing? They argue. They love each other, but they're never going to be able to see eye to eye on this. So they have to agree to disagree in person. It's funny to see them being fucking friends and rolling and everything's gone, and then they get on Facebook and they look like mortal enemies. Like, you guys just was high-fiving and laughing and joking, and you get on Facebook and it seems as if you guys want to kill each other
Right.
over your opinions that I don't know which is right. And I love you both.
Right.
I don't care what your opinion is. We're still going to be friends. And that's what I'm saying. Why would you put that toward of hate and discontent towards your friend, and then you see him and you're just like, yeah, but you're thinking, I guarantee both of them are thinking the whole time, this fucking idiot is such a dumb Democrat. This fucking Republican doesn't know what he's doing. High five, buddy. Good job. But it's cool that they're able to do that, but most
Yeah.
people cannot do
I
that.
was gonna say it's commendable.
Most
Because
people,
no.
because most people aren't friends debating one another. They're complete strangers debating each other through an ether, which is strange. I've done it. I fall into the trap. Please don't come on here and be like, "Oh, well, you do it all the time." Yeah, because I do. I get into it. I'm not immune to being a dumbass by any means. And I get emotionally invested in subjects as well. And then I forget that I'm a human and I'm dealing with another human and should show some compassion and empathy and some tough love and some understanding. But it's like you got to kind of you those good attributes about yourself that usually people would enjoy having a conversation with you about go out the window, and then the person that people don't want to engage with comes out. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I mean, how do you guys see it?
Well, I think it's that. I think, I mean, it is crazy to me the amount of people I've seen unfriend people that they said were friends, or they don't talk to family, it is mind-boggling to me. It's sad. I mean, if you want my opinion, it's just sad that over political stances, that who's to say if your president had made it and they were forced to make the same decisions, would you still take this stance that you're taking? Or would you suddenly be like, well, yeah, that's what's best for the country? And that's
You
what
saying that you were let's say you were voting for Kamala because she had some views aligned with yours, but she switched stances, and then
Yeah.
Trump ended up picking up those policies, and now the guy that you hated is agreeing with you, so you have to like him, and then you're
Right.
like, oh yeah, Trump's actually a good president.
Right. Or, border control or
I
whatever.
don't in this current
You
environment.
know?
Even if Donald Trump was to agree with all the Democrats, they'd still hate him. They'd be like, "Oh, he's trying to stick it." It's so deep both ways.
It is.
You have the Trump derangement syndrome, where people think Trump is a complete animal, but you have Trump derangement syndrome, where people think Trump can do no wrong, and those are bad both ways. You
Like a
can't.
God complex.
Yes, like he is not that.
Yes.
Maybe he is, so I can't say it, but I have not. There's no evidence to me that Donald Trump's our savior.
Yeah, I don't think he's the second coming.
Not at all. He's just a guy that probably runs businesses real good.
Yeah.
He's probably running the country from a business standpoint. He's probably setting up his constituents. He's probably setting himself up for when he gets out of office. right?
Well, and
Why
I think
would you
that's the
not?
point is he's running it as a business because there's a reason Trump is so successful is he's not afraid of hurting people's feelings or
Oh, he
stepping
don't
on
mind. It
toes.
rolls off his back like duck feathers.
But
He does not care.
that's that business aspect that comes in. You start letting friends, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Then you're you're not successful because you've got to be like my business comes first, no matter what.
And I think
And
I
I
think
think
he's
that's
that
the way
way.
he runs the country.
Say what you want
Is
about
it's-
me, but this look, my numbers speak for
Exactly.
themselves.
And he's not afraid to be hated.
No,
And that's what makes
he
him a
is.
good business person.
He's the most loved and hated in the United
Yeah.
States right now. That's
But
like
that's what
50,
makes him a
50.
good business person. Is it's like, oh, you hate me? Well, sucks to be you. Look at my numbers.
Right.
Oh, you love me? Well, see, I told you this. would
Yeah.
work. You know what I mean?
And he's so arrogant and conceited. Like
He is.
just like,
He's
well,
a perfect business model of.
told you.
Yeah. I mean,
Told you so.
yeah, it is. But I think that's what blows my mind the most is the division that I've seen of people that claim to be each other's friends or, you know, the not talking to family or that is just mind boggling to me.
So I'll give you an example of two different people. I won't say their names, but I have two people that are in my head right now that I'm still friends with on Facebook, and I'm still friends with them in the real world. We talk, and I won't speak politics at all. Two people on both sides of the fence that I unfollowed because one of them every day posts anything that Donald Trump does. If it's a biased article, if it's a good article, it doesn't matter if it makes Trump look bad or if it's their opinion that it's making Trump look bad, they post about it. And it could be 9 posts a day, all about look what this orange man did this time. Oh, are you
Right.
kidding me? Look at this is proof. Just never letting up that Trump is a piece of shit. And then I have another friend, acquaintance, that will constantly prop up Donald Trump, even when he's making poor decisions. Somebody highlights the fact that this was bad for this because of that, and they double down. And no, Donald Trump, you don't understand. Well, he's like, I don't think you should worship Donald Trump, and I do not think that you should just completely hold disdain for him. Don't have a personal investment in it. Look at his policies and see what they're doing, and then agree or disagree that it is. Again, we see what we see in the media, and those are not always, it's almost a guaranteed there's going to spin it toward their affiliations.
Yeah.
Whatever political party that news organization is highly affiliated with, it will look, they will try to make it look as good or as bad for those people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to filter through all that stuff. And that's why you can't look at something somebody says, right? Like Elon did and everybody said it was a salute to the, to the Austrian painter. But was it? I don't know. But then other news organizations highlight all the times that the other parties had done the same exact thing.
Oh, shit.
Because they caught them during a weird wave, and then they're saying, oh, so we have a lot of fans of the Austrian painter here. Mhm. Okay. Some say he never should have stopped. It's just odd. And then to make that association between whoever you believe is the bad party, because it's not just them saying Donald Trump is trying to be the next Austrian painter. I don't want to say the name. Sometimes they flag for weird things.
Right.
But anyway, but they also say the same thing about the other side of the aisle. Oh, this isn't the Gestapo. You can't do that. Like, why are you making the association between these two? Because that's the worst character in history that you could think of. That at least most people agree
Right.
that he was a bad actor.
Right.
So then you get into it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Like I said, I don't want to get into it politically. I'm just talking about the overall. What is the best for like our small community? What is best for the county, state, federal? And I don't think the way that we as society make our choices is always based off of what's best for the population. It's what suits me and what I feel in my, what I feel in my heart. And that's not because, well, for example, like if I have a kid that has like was born without a limb, I'm gonna be more pro prosthetics and letting kids do things even though they're missing an arm that they can't do. Like obviously you're not pitching with that arm at least, but I want my kid out there. I want him to experience these things too. So people
I went
get
to high school
overly
as a kid that only had one arm and was a pitcher.
well, not with the arm that he didn't have.
Right.
He could only pitch with
He
his one
put his
arm.
glove on this when he threw it, and then as soon as he threw it, he'd switch the glove to this hand.
I've seen that before.
was
Not that I don't know if it's the same kid.
Yeah.
I've seen
His name was
that.
Brian.
But
Craziest shit I ever seen.
yeah, but you know the people
And
you
was
adapt.
just fluid with it.
Yeah,
I mean, you didn't. It got to where you didn't even pay attention to it anymore.
you know it's funny. It's
So
totally
used to
weird.
him doing it.
He
that-
probably, if he would have been born with two arms, would probably might not have been even good at
yeah,
baseball.
may not have
But
been.
with that, because he had the desire
He
to be
worked
so
so hard
much, he
to-
worked so hard, he got it.
Yeah, it was a pitcher, and he'd put the glove on his.
No.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't want to say it.
That's what it is. Everybody knows.
Put it on his
It's not like you
glove.
called him a black guy,
And he
black
would.
arm or whatever.
As soon as he threw that ball, then he would put the glove on this hand so he could field, and was a phenomenal pitcher. I mean, it was just like you said. But I wonder if it's because of his
Drive and determination.
yeah,
Hard
you
work
know,
beats
was
talent.
it
when
because of
talent
his
doesn't work hard.
handicap that he became such a good pitcher, or was it he just destined to be a good pitcher and just life threw him a curve and he only had one arm?
Well, I mean, it's again, this is the nature versus nurture argument a lot of times on things. Like, would he have had all that talent, or did he work hard for that talent? Was he a little bit? It's really hard to question, but yeah. Anyway, the point I was making with that
He
is,
said anyway.
if I'm a parent or I have a vested interest in an idea, and I'm emotionally attached to that investment, because my experience was I had a child that needed a prosthetic and he couldn't play and do the other things the other kids do, so I'm an advocate now and now I get into be governor and then president. Next thing you know, I'm making laws that everybody has to wear a prosthetic when they play basketball, so that it'd be fair to everyone. Even though that's outrageous and it's not fair, you were so emotionally invested in that because your kid didn't get all the things the other kid had.
Right.
You are making laws now, or trying to pass laws and get people to vote for those laws that you pass because of your emotional ideology that's not good for everybody else. And that happens, right? That's our whole entire political party now, is people voting for things that they want. People getting into office so that they can control the power and the money for whatever the subject is that they are emotionally invested into. It's the popularity contest because it's not about policy. It's not about, because if you're voting for someone, if you were voting for Donald Trump on his past policies, he has none. He was never a politician. He was a businessman. So if we're going for Bill Clinton, I can clearly see he was a governor of Arkansas. He worked his way up through Congress. Here's his accolades. Here's why I'm voting for him, because he put Rogers, Arkansas on the map for industry and business, and they're booming right now. Of course I want him as president. He's proven to me that's the way it should go. But we don't do that. Like, oh, remember whenever he had Monica Lewinsky jerk him off in the Oval Office?
Right.
Like, yeah, well, yeah. Kings always do that. Presidents do. Like, that's what men in power do. But you're just saying it. You know, every other president's done it. It's been highlighted. What's the Marilyn Monroe and Kennedy deal? You're not complaining about that because Kennedy was your president, but now you're complaining that because Clinton's not your president. So it's not okay that he cheated on his wife. She stayed with him. All the feminists didn't say anything about that. How come all the feminists weren't jumping down the president's throat like, you're a fucking male savage? Why wouldn't the women then vote Hillary Clinton in? You're voting Hillary Clinton or trying to vote Hillary Clinton in whenever she stayed with a man that cheated on her. That's not very feminist, is it? You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm emotionally invested. I don't like what you're doing, but because you're saying the talking points that are going to get you in, I'm still voting for you, even though I know you're corrupt in that way. Like, I'm a feminist, but I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton. I don't think so. She allows her man to abuse her and gaslight her and cheat on her in the Oval Office and then sticks with him. You know, I mean, because it's like, okay,
Yep.
you're a feminist. You say you're all this and that, but you voted in a woman that allows her husband to treat her that way. But this is all, and I'm not just, again, not trying to highlight that. It's just the specific instance that happened. It could have been anybody's name attached to that, and it'd be the same thing. It could have been, a Republican president that did that, and it would be the same backlash from the same constituents. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a popularity contest. I guess is what I'm getting at. This whole
It
thing.
really is. That's always what it boils down to.
Because imagine if, like, we didn't have any kind of policy to go and we had 3 president-elects. They have no background in politics. We just have to go. And one of them's Kim Kardashian, you know, one of them's Nate Diaz from the MMA, and then we got John Daly, a professional golfer. There's your, well, Kim Kardashian knows money. She knows how to make money. And I wouldn't mind having her on the podium all the time versus John Daly, old drunk golfer. I'd rather look at Kim. So I'm voting for Kim Kardashian just because she's hot. Don't care about her policies because they suck. You know what I'm getting at though? It's like at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I'm just voting for them because either my friends are, or it's like there's no, you don't, and then you're going to complain about how shitty the economy is. Well, you voted Kim Kardashian to be president. What'd you think? Like, if we're getting low on our economy, Kim gonna pop out a couple of OnlyFans videos and boost our numbers? What the hell is she gonna do? Pop a titty out, Kim. We're broke. We need some of this other countries to buy some of your content. Kind of a strange environment that we're trying to navigate these days. Has it always been this way?
I sure it has been. I mean,
To
there's
this degree, we didn't have media as the difference.
and
Yeah.
that's the thing. Is I think it's always been this way. It's just now it's in our face because of social media.
Yeah, and everybody with a camera is a news.
Because I think
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Or a podcaster.
But I think back in the day before social media, you just basically flocked to your own kind. You know,
Yeah.
Republicans hung out with Republicans, Democrats hung out with Democrats. If they saw each other in passing, there may be a hey, you're stupid, hey. But you went home and you didn't go home and open up a page and it's like, you're an idiot, 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 you know?
I
So I
don't
think there's
remember my
always
parents
been this-
ever talking about politics
I remember my parents talking
to
about
each
it,
other, but they didn't go to friends' houses, play
Right.
bridge, and talk over the presidency because they had different views and they didn't want to become enemies.
right.
So people just didn't talk about politics. Nobody ever used to say whether their affiliation was Republican or Democrat. It wasn't come up in conversation like, "Hey, I'm Garrett. I'm a Republican." Like, what?
Right. But I think the thing is people were more private back then.
They didn't tell you who they voted for.
We didn't have this open book policy where we just spewed all of our shit on Facebook or whatever. I think back then it was a semblance of privacy. You know, you did what you did, but you didn't feel the need to air it out like we do now.
It's virtue, right? Like, I think because before, if I was in a small town of Longton where I grew up, and there's no media, social media, who am I gonna brag to? Immediately they're gonna be like, "Shut the fuck up! Nobody cares. Why are you talking about this? We don't care who you voted for. Just shut up. I voted for somebody that I voted for, and you voted for who you voted for, and that's it." It really was. Nobody used to say. Matter of fact, I remember when I started working whenever John McCain and Barack Obama were running against one another. I started working at Dolly Madison, and there was three guys out in the shop and myself, and we were talking about. And one guy was like, one of the guys was saying to the other guy, "Oh, we know you voted for Obama. We know you voted for Obama. Don't try to church it up." And he just sat there with his newspaper, and he looked over at him when he was saying Obama, and he said, "Well, who'd you vote for?" He's like, "You know who I voted for," but it was this game, and neither one of them ever said who they voted for.
Right.
And that was 2010, 15 years ago, during the Obama and McCain era. I didn't tell those guys who I voted for either, because my parents hadn't. I was still young. I'd never heard people really talk about it. But now people will tell you, "Well, I voted for Trump, and he's my president. He's your president too. You have to like him,
Right.
like it or not, bitch. Trump's your president." That's dumb. He is your president. He is the president, but you don't have to like him. You don't have to. Just because he's
Right.
president doesn't mean that you have to like him and fall into line. And if you didn't get it, doesn't mean that you had to like his opponent. That's not what it means. It means this is what you're dealing with for 4 years. If you don't like it, you're gonna have to either try to make some changes yourself, voice your opinion, or get out there and start running for offices. But nobody does that. It's virtue. They want their constituents. This is why I made this a long point. If I say something now, thousands of people see me, and they like my comment, and then they comment under it, "Yeah, you're right, buddy." Yeah, 2 people on there said I was stupid and I was wrong. 25 people said how right I was. I'm right. That gave validity to my comment. My comment was, "Trump's your president, whether you like it or not." And a bunch of people put American flags underneath my comment, so I'm right. And it makes you feel good, and you got friends and people back you up. We all want the same thing, and it's not you losers.
Right.
When sometimes you just get really, really obsessed with something and you can't see that you're wrong or right. And that's what's happening today. A lot of people don't, and I don't know what side it is. Somebody's wrong and somebody's right on the two different ideas of the political terms.
And both can be wrong.
And both could be wrong. That's a good point,
There you
Nate.
go.
Both could be very wrong.
Absolutely.
Or both could be right in their own way, depending on what because like say it's a monetary value, we need to either get $1,000 or we need to have or we're gonna have zero. Like the thousand's the good and the zero's the bad. If you were on the zero side, you were wrong. If you were on the 1,000 side, you were right. But that's really the only time, because there's like you can make a policy that you think is good, but it's only good for the majority, not the minority. And that could be bad, right? If we're making policies on gender or on race, it could be kind of bad if the majority was white and the minority was black, and it worked out great for all the white people, but all the black people didn't work out for it. And that's happened lots and lots of times over the years, unfortunately. There's been certain communities of people, certain races of people, certain genders of people that have been discriminated against over the years. And my idea is that we continually work on trying to make that gap narrower and narrower for the amount of discrimination or hate and discontent toward a group because of a minority, because of them being a minority or a gender or anything else. Because the idea is that we live happily amongst one another without infringing on one another's rights, and still trying to be have a quality of life about us. We don't want a bunch of drug addicts living in the streets, because when you're using drugs intravenously, it's dangerous. Unwanted pregnancies due to, unsafe sex. You just fill in the blank. The idea is that we're trying to come to a society that can intermingle with as little friction as possible, as fluid of a community as you can get, with as much viscosity and social lubrication as possible, without it going the other direction and becoming what it seems to be becoming today. I'm just not very articulate with the way I describe things, but I don't know. Somebody else. I've frustrated myself now. What time is it, Nate? Oh,
8:26.
you guys want to call it a day, or?
Sounds good.
I think we've sat and rambled enough that made zero sense to anyone, or at least I have, that everybody will walk away from this confused as I am and not having any better idea of how things go. But at least we all can agree, and if you don't, fuck you, that daylight savings time sucks. All
There
right.
you go. It's been a sad year. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.